Hello and welcome to Winfield's Week of Rugby League. And it started, for this particular program anyway, last Saturday afternoon when we had the Panthers. Well, they were strolling along, doing it nicely, 12-0 in front against the Bears. But then the Grizzlies came to life, and as well you know, they got up to win. We'll follow that, of course, with our NEC big game from the stadium when the Eels played hosts to the Tigers. And plenty of pundits were expecting that the Tigers would reverse the first round result. And then Tooheys Monday night football, it was Canterbury, Bankstown and Western Suburbs. But first things first, let's go back and have a look at some of the highlights of Norths and Penrith.
Well, here's the action with North Sydney. Don McKinnon there. They've got a very big pack of forwards. Gavin Jones is having a tremendous season. Clayton Friend, of course, justifiably exonerated after being sent off last week on a high but not dangerous tackle. Mark Graham's the man who can do so much, and Martin Bella's having a great season in the pack for Norths. Gavin Jones, I think he can pretty well book a passage on that Kangaroo Tour at the end of the year. He's been one of the form players of the season. He continually breaks the line and sets the play up, and he's getting more and more skillful in the way he sets up the play. The Panthers without David Lydiard and John Cartwright today. Ken Wolfe and Gary Howell have taken their place, and Greg Alexander, despite a knee injury problem, is in the side, and as we've mentioned before, he's the man upon they depend so much for the inspiration. Matt Goodwin, after coming from West Wyalong, has had some tremendous games with the Penrith side, and when he's fired up, he crashes through and sets it up beautifully. Graham West in charge today. The Bears to kick off a magnificent day here at North Sydney Oval. So Penrith in possession on their quarter line, and that's Goodwin feeding it, setting it up to Connor. Roy Simmons a dummy half. Daryl Broman, who's slimmed down a little this year, been very, very fit and sharp. Big contributor. Brandon Lee, rangy second rower. Good kicking game he's got as well. Now a clearance from Greg Clements down to Paul Conlon, who's taken over at fullback this week. MacArthur's on the wing and Butler back in reserves. And Conlon's had plenty of first-grade experience. And North's playing into the breeze in this first half. And Steve-O, the result today.
I think Penrith should win, Jim. I think they just have a little bit too much class out wide. But North Sydney, well, one week they can play good football. Next week they're awful. We saw last week that they weren't at their best. But let's not take anything away from them, the fact that they were playing with 12 men in that second half. But they've really got to improve to match it with the Panthers this afternoon.
It's a big day for Norths. They really need a win to stay in with a hope of making the semis. Cannon's kick cleared up by Robards. Robards, another one of a number of Penrith players who's performed confidently behind the inspiration of Alexander. The drop by Connor, but he didn't knock it on. He regained the ball before it hit the deck. The penalty is against McKinnon. West had called held. McKinnon went on too long, and the Panthers will clear. Here's what happened.
This is a silly penalty. They put a lot of pressure on the Penrith side, and there you can see McKinnon just losing his cool for a moment.
Now it's Broman with Lee.
I must say, though, Jim, it took them quite some time. 3 tackles were wasted then before they were even back on side.
David Green to play it. Alexander on the last tackle. Finds touch. Busy run from David Green.
Smile says it all there, Jim. The little halfback there, Alexander, tried to kick the ball deliberately onto a Norths player. With full marks to MacArthur. He stood on his toes and got out of the way.
The Norths have got it to Filipina. Penrith up very quickly. Connor going in heavily over the top. Here's Gavin Jones. Oh, he's lost it. A couple of handling blues from Norths. Mark Graham and then Gavin Jones. 3 times they've dropped the merchandise.
And the reason why they dropped it, Jim, is because the player took their eyes off the ball, more intent on looking at the man coming towards him. And let's face it, in these opening 12 minutes, there's been a lot of high tackles.
Alexander, look out! Here he goes, and he's in! Oh, a gap as wide as the heads. Wasn't that the easiest try you'll ever see? His 10th of the season. And the North Sydney defence was nowhere.
Well, you may think this is easy, Jim, but let's not take anything away from it. Cannon just a little bit hesitant to start with. You could see that Philippine had moved up far too quickly. This fella doesn't need much room. He'll enjoy that.
And this should be 6-0. He's hooked it through the posts, and Penrith, after 15 minutes, 6-0. Or should I say again, it's Alexander 6, opposition 0. Brandon Lee, Gavin Jones in for the tackle. Alexander clears it quickly. That was about the 4th tackle. Look at this ball, into touch.
It's a sort of kick that brings a smile on the prop forwards' faces. No point in just running into that hard defence when a kick like that can take you upfield.
And Penrith get another penalty. Penrith at the moment got 4 penalties. North's 1 in the game. And yet another chance for them to drive it back in North's territory, deep down there, and set it up.
I get the impression, Jim, there's a lot of talk going on in that pack, especially in the front row.
Simmons doing the move. A good one. Just trying to find a chink in North's armour here. Broman with a switch to Lee. There's not a confident play in the North side. Looking to vary the game. Connor. Of course, Roy Simmons in there, organising the switches of direction. That's Green. Now watch for Alexander in the play here somewhere. There he goes. What a ball, and Howell scores. Howell scores off Alexander. A regulation move, beautifully executed, and Gary Howell swamped them under the posts.
Certainly was a good try, and full credit to Penrith. They worked hard for this one. The forwards switched it, and they set up for this try.
Well, this should be a 12-0 lead. Alexander's scored a try, and he set up the other one. He's missed one early kick, but here comes his 2nd goal of the day, and the Panthers, 2 tries in 3 minutes, lead 12-0. And it's interesting to look at the Penrith combination today with John Cartwright dropping out there, Steve-O. The decision to play Gary Howell, who scored the try, in preference perhaps to Jeff Gerard, who's played the last couple of games, because there was a lot of talk about moving Broman to the 2nd row and playing Gerard as prop.
I think the Sheens made the right decision, because Gary Howell is a man that always seems to skirt. And just a little bit of fisticuffs coming into again.
Don McKinnon involved. A little lack of discipline in the North's game creeping in here.
Well,
McKinnon
just pull the ball away from him. That's silly play. That's the 2nd silly penalty that McKinnon's used.
It's an aspect of McKinnon's game over the years that creeps in when the side starts to drop back a bit. He seems to lose concentration, do silly things, and I think it could have been one of the reasons when he was put back to reserve grade a few weeks ago. I don't know, maybe in another, but he certainly does give away a few silly penalties, and the result of all that, would you believe it, is that North have got the penalty. Well, the touch judge saw something, the referee, that I couldn't see, did you?
No.
You can't work that one out at all.
Getting back to Tim Sheen's decision to bring Gary Howell into the side, he's a man that does skirt off Alexander, and he's gone for attack rather than putting Gerard for defence.
Yes, Howell's a very quick man in the 2nd row. He showed it then, beautifully set up. Now Les Kiss, another form player this year, had a good debut match in the State of Origin for Queensland. And his goal kicking's been fairly accurate. He's hit that well and straight. So North's on the board. Midway through the first half, Norths have scored through Les Kiss's boot. It's 12-2. Well, weren't too sure of it. Lindsay decides to go dead ahead. Just 5 metres out now, the Bears. Florimo a dummy half. Friend's ball. Filipina. We saw Penrith with confident execution of a few moves. What have North's got here? Friend. Graham. North's attack just a bit predictable at the moment. The last tackle. The reverse bomb from Cannon. And taken on the full, so it's a tap back on the quarter.
Good thinking by the lock forward. Made to go to the blind side, and then a rather unusual backward bomb, but well covered.
And Simmons, he couldn't hold on to it as the tackle was about to happen. He was trying to set it up, lost it forward. So here's a great chance for Norths, 10 minutes before half-time.
That's a bad lacking concentration by the Penrith skipper. Very lackadaisical there at the dummy half. You don't mess around underneath your own post.
Here it is. Filipina. Cannon. Someone, please. You're playing basketball, fellas. French cleans it up. Another chance. Bella. Bit of control in the attack. Where's it coming from? Friend. Away through Cannon. They tried for the intercept, but it was knocked forward by Howe. He could sense what was happening with the move to shift it wide of the ruck, and he went for the intercept.
Well, once again, we see the attempt to get the ball out wide, but what do we find in the line? 2 forwards. They've got to talk this three-quarter line in North Sydney. They've got to talk to their forwards and tell them to drop out.
And Norths get a penalty against Simmons, down in the scrum. So yet another chance for them to get over that line. They're down by 10 points, playing into just a slight breeze in this first half. The Bears. Friend again. Filipina. McKinnon. Friend, a good dash. He's cut through them. Just a metre short. A nice little step from Clayton Friend. Tackle by Clements. Right on the boil. It's Cannon. He sets it up. Filipina. And he's over the line. And he's got it down. Big Olsen, with those chocolate pillars of his known as legs, has got through. He scored near the upright. And Norths are back in the hunt.
Certainly are, and good play. You can put this try down to Clayton Friend, that individual stuff, but a good switch back inside. The strength of the Kiwi takes him over.
Filipina, who has a very economical approach to the skill of goal kicking. And then a thwack with that solid right leg of his. And 2 more points. North's down by 4. We've got about 6 minutes to go in the first half. 2 tries to 1. Penrith in front of the game. Gavin Jones. That's better by Norths. Jones bustles forward. Bella. And Bella rips it up. The North Sydney supporters cheering their Bears now as they start to surge forward. Graham's long ball. Florimo slipped it. Here's Kiss. Little Les Kiss. He's flying down there. He comes to Robart. Back inside it goes, and it's a try to Cannon. Mark Cannon has scored. And that was just what Mike Stevenson was talking about, getting it out wide. And Les Kiss, who's got so much pace, was able to set it up for Cannon.
It's amazing what a little bit of confidence can do for you, and a long pass from Graham. And watch this ball. That's a beautiful pass. That's good play by the young centre. And Kiss, dearie me, French was beautiful play. And this is out of backup man. And he'll thoroughly enjoy that, Mark Cannon. Watch the ball, the long ball, Clayton Friend, the Kiwi connection. Running onto it. That is a superb ball out wide. And watch this kid go. This is the reason why he's played for Queensland this year. Cannon, the big smile. And the Bears back in the game.
And here's Filipina. That's for the lead. The Bears lead by 2 points. About 2 minutes to go in this first half. It's been an excellent recovery by the Bears, who were clearly outplayed in the first 20 minutes. Alexander with Robards. French came back to make sure of it. Alexander again. That's Wolf. Lee. Alexander. Simmons. Goodwin. That's Clements. Last tackle for Penrith. They're down by 2 points. Alexander. A feint and then a pass to Izzard. And that's an excellent tackle by Conlon. He came in and cut the movement off, and he found a big man to stop. He did it well. They end up getting a penalty. Almost half-time as Conlon runs it up. Steve-O, the first half.
Well, it's a case of 20 minutes for Penrith, 20 minutes for North Sydney. Penrith really took control of the game in those first 20 minutes, and it looks as though they were going to run away with it. And maybe that's what they thought, the players out in the field. Full credit to North Sydney. So many times in the past they folded, but they regrouped, they got themselves together, and it was really the Kiwi Clayton Friend that got himself a little bit injected into the attack for the first time, lifted their morale by a little burst, and give them the position to score the first try. And the second try just before half-time, what a beauty. It's going to be a great second half.
The crucial point both coaches are talking about at half-time is control of the ball. Both coaches want to see more of that from their side in the second half. In the North's camp, they say they've overcome the silly mistakes of the first 20 minutes of this game. They want the forwards to continue running straight and hard as they did in the first half, towards the end of the first half, that is, move the ball out wide and create gaps. Tim Sheens also says the gaps will come wide if his team move the ball around. He wants more work from the markers. He says that was in the match plan, they're not sticking to it, and his final words was, if Norths are defending, we'll win.
Thanks, Debbie. So Norths with a slight wind assistance in this half, and Mark Graham goes forward, tackled by Connor, Simmons and Broman. That's Friend's ball. Charging ahead, Gavin Jones. You often see the linking between those two, trying to inspire a big burst from Jones. Now it's Bella back into the middle. Support from Lindsay. So a lively start in the second half for Norths, who lead 14-12. Cannon, a quick dummy and a quick kick ahead into space. Robards caught out of position. Cannon's charging after this. Robards has got it, and Cannon's got him in goal. What a start by North Sydney. Well, that's about the most enthusiastic start to a half of football we've seen from Norths for a while, and it's paid off because they'll get the ball back from a drop under the post. Straight ahead. Setting up position. Penrith just a little rattled at the moment. Friend. That's Jones. Jones gallops ahead. Look at French. He's in. Gavin Jones and Brett French. What a difference all these Queensland players are making. Brett French, Gavin Jones and Les Kiss, but that time it was Jones and French. North's further ahead.
Good play by the second rower. There's a big fella, the second. Beautiful ball out wide. French had no intention of looking for the man. He knew he had the speed to go out wide. What a great start by the Bears. a lot more conviction. Running onto the ball, the strength. He realised he was going to commit himself. Knew he had French outside him.
Les Kiss with an awkward kick on the angle. He's hit it well. The breeze is bringing it through the post for 2 points. Beautifully judged kick from Kiss. So North's an 8-point lead. It'll really keep the pressure on for the semi-finals. Make it a terrific race in the last few weeks of the season. That kick touched a Penrith player and then ran into touch short of the 10-metre line. So from the moment really it came from his boot, it was a good tactic, but it didn't come off, and Norths have got the penalty.
Full marks for trying, but it wasn't all that executed that well.
Just looking at the tackles there in the first half, Penrith ended up missing 23 and Norths 13. McKinnon. Bella. And now it's all North Sydney. They must like these 120 starts. Clayton Friend, Filipina, Florimo, that's Graham. Bella. It's all looking pretty good at the moment. Clayton Friend, ducking and weaving and losing it. It went both ways. Alexander. Izzard's chasing it. Conlon's got it. He gets around Izzard. And Conlon, another strong run back. Brian Norton obviously looking for a bit more strength at the back this week. Put Conlon there and MacArthur to the wing. Mark Graham almost getting over the tackle and delivering it. He keeps it going. And Penrith inside the 5. And perhaps a chance for Kiss to have a shot at goal from this.
Well, the Panthers are beginning to lose their cool. They have to realise they've got to get this game pattern flowing once again.
There we are. One of the lads, well fed today at Percy's Wine Bar over the road. The spare ribs were pretty good, Steve-O.
They were excellent.
Well, Les Kiss, he's hit it well. It's another fine kick. Look at that. 2 more points. 10 ahead now, the Bears. Big Olsen plays it. Clayton Friend. It's a call for the timeout. No, play on. Friend, a little bit of treatment in the tackle. Another strong one from Goodwin. Jones. He almost got through again. It's taken 2 or 3 as he makes another buffeting run. Cannon behind the line. Robards onto it.
Good positioning by the fullback there, expecting the kick. Came down on the blind side.
But Penrith can't get out of their own half.
No, and it's mainly due to the fact that this very eager North's defence. They realise they've got this game wrapped up and they're not going to let it go.
Simmons ball for Howell, and he reckoned that one was forward. It's probably close. Certainly a lateral, but I don't know about forward. There we are.
50-50 that one.
Yeah. Inside pass to Robards. Simmons and Robards. No one there. Goodwin. Simmons. That's Izzard. Roman, the ball for Goodwin.
I'm afraid there's not much leadership out there in the Penrith side. Simmons has to get to his players, get them reorganised.
Norths have got it back. Penrith making a lot of errors. and the touch judges come sweeping in for a report, and it must be on a North player.
I think you'll find it's
Brandon Lee's down again.
We had Mark Graham catch one a bit late, and Lee also caught one.
Now Clayton Friend has been replaced after getting into a heavy tackle, and the replacement is Graham Murchie. Now what's happening out in the field there? We've got Lee getting attention, a penalty going to Penrith. We've got Craig Izzard coming on as well, for, no doubt for Brandon Lee, who was injured there. Now, after all that, while we were watching the various moves in the play, Florimo, I think it is, Florimo's been put in the sin bin, obviously for that tackle on Lee, Brandon Lee. So we're back into the action with Goodwin. Goodwin going ahead. Alexander, that was a poor pass really, it went forward. The Norths have got the ball back. Murchie's ball, Cannon, a kick ahead, knocked down by Robards. Robards elusive. What a good run. Back to halfway. 19 minutes left. Still plenty of time for Penrith to win it. Alexander. Gonzalez. But what a time for them here. They could capitalise. They've got an extra man. Craig Izzard, the replacement for Lee, who was tackled late by Florimo, who's been put in the bin for 10. That's Connor. Penrith have won a few games from this position during the year. Alexander's been the spark. What a pass. Izzard. Izzard keeps it going. That's Howell. There's Green, and they've scored it. Well, there you are.
Good play. See the ball out here from Clements. A beautiful ball. Could have been a bit doubtful, that one. But Izzard realised he got the ball out, and Howell watch him just at the last moment. Good backing up. And disappointing for the North side. Down to 12 men. Simmons getting the ball out wide. Very, very doubtful, that one. There'll be a lot of talk after the game. But full credit to Penrith. Like North did in the first half, they fought their way back.
A vital kick this could be. He's hit it beautifully. 2 more points, and the game's on again. Just 4 points between the Bears and the Panthers. 16 minutes left in the match. 22-18. Tight head. Filipina. That's Cannon standing out wide. Oh, terrible. Look at this. He's given it away. It should be a try. And Alexander cut down a metre short. There's still a chance. It's loose. It's a penalty. They're all offside. North's all offside. But what a terrible mistake by Mark Cannon out in the backs there. And Alexander, but for this last-minute tackle from French, was in. And then you'll see North's up on the blind side. They're all offside there, and it had to be a penalty. They've taken the tap after the kick into touch. Craig Izzard goes down.
There's Florimo back from his 10 minutes in the sin bin. So the Bears back to 30.
Howell. That Simmons ball held up by Alexander to Izzard. Simmons again. North's trying to upset the rhythm here as they play the ball. Away goes Broman, 5 metres out. Last tackle for Penrith. Alexander's there. a kick across the face of the ruck. It's dropped, it's anyone's guess, but it's not a try. North did well there to get away with it. It was a beautiful little kick of Greg Alexander's and very nearly brought the try. Look at this.
Certainly did, and the fullback was very fortunate here, Conlon. He lost control of it.
It's Gerard. Good ball to Howell. Howell goes ahead. And there was a late tackle, a very late tackle by Mark Graham there. We'll just see what happens from the ensuing play, though. Penrith still a chance, and it's a penalty. The touch judge is going to rush on, and Mark Graham could be in strife here. Now, I don't know whether you saw that in the back play. I certainly did.
And I certainly did, Jim.
It was very, very late and high. The touch judge is on. Graham's being talked to, and we'll see what happens here. Well, the penalty, of course, goes to Penrith. Graham gets a caution. It's desperate stakes for Penrith. Ackery charges ahead. Charge ahead, close to the line. Gerard pulled back. Alexander caught by the defence. There's the siren, it's all over. The Bears have won. The Bears have done it. What a win for the Bears. And for once this season, when Penrith have got close in the last 20 minutes, they haven't been able to produce the magic to pull the game out of the fire.
Welcome to our Channel 10 NEC big game. Of course, Parramatta versus Balmain at Parramatta Stadium. And it brings out a startling fact that since 1985 in the first round, Balmain have gone down to the Parramatta in their last 5 encounters. Balmain trying to consolidate a position in the top 5. Parramatta, of course, leading the way in the race for the minor premiership for the Winfield Cup. Balmain, well, they're certainly going to look to their outside backs, where it looks as though they might have an advantage in this game over the Parramatta team.
Welcome to the NEC big game in round 16 of the Winfield Cup, today between Parramatta and Balmain, with the match coming from the Parramatta Stadium. When they first met this season at Leichhardt, it was the 23rd of March, and the Eels won convincingly by 23 points to 8, and now find themselves 4 points clear of the Tigers on the premiership table. The Parramatta Warrior, Ray Price, leads his team, and their full lineup is Taylor, Eden, Muggleton, Delroy, Groth, Kenny, Sterling, Price, Laurie, Wynn, Leabeater, Mosley and Bugden. New South Wales captain Wayne Pearce, as usual, leads his team out, and their lineup reads as follows: Jack, Gartner, Conlon, Schofield, Gale, Myler, Bridge, Pearce, Hardwick, Sirenen, Roach, Elias and Marquito. The referee is Bill Harrigan for today's NEC big game clash between the Eels and the Tigers. Balmain running from left to right. As the ball is sent down towards Peter Sterling, and Brett Kenny is asked to bring it out from the 10-metre line. And already there's a Balmain player down injured. It's Gary Bridge. And I think he might have cocked the knee of Brett Kenny as he tried to make a low tackle, and here's Bugden now. Met by Roach, just inside the 22. Coming in as well was Myler. Now Leabeater. Bridge is back on his feet. To the 25-metre point on the Balmain end of the field. Gary Jack away from one. It's gone to Gale, and Gale taken on by Kenny. Together with Price, they tie him up. Hardwick, penalty to Balmain. Parramatta inside the 5. And there's the lower grades. Parramatta and Balmain are 22 all drawn, and 23s, 28 to 22, Parramatta 1 reserves. So Wes Conlon is going to take a shot at goal. And this will be the start that Balmain has been hoping so much for. Talking to Wayne Pearce, Parramatta have got the shot on them in the early minutes of their last 4 or 5 encounters. And Wayne believes more strongly than anything that's what's brought them undone. So Conlon, you've had a look at the angle. He's about 18 metres in from the Michael Cronin touchline. We'll call it that for the want of a better term, but that's where he is, on the Michael Cronin stand side. 40 metres out. And a little bit of an angle there. It's off the boot nicely. It's coming around, but it's wide, and bringing the ball out is Paul Taylor. What's that breeze doing down there, Graham? Did Ross have very much with him?
Well, it's quite surprising for the huge amount of breeze that is around this afternoon. I think the way it must be blowing that the stands on either side are certainly taking an effect. There's not that much wind at all down here on the level of the field. If anything, a slight favour to Parramatta.
Yes, just looking at the flags on the top end of the ground, they more or less are going across from behind the Thornett stand. So it's Gary Jack now. Why wouldn't you run it back to the halfway, which was only about 4 metres upfield? Gale through Myler, Conlon, Pearce. Oh, quick hands and nice work to Schofield. Beautifully cut down by Price. Myler, Elias, Sirenen. Ooh. Bugden going in with Laurie. Oh, that's an awful pass, Benny Elias. It hit Steve Roach on the shin. And the penalty now goes to Parramatta. Penalties 1-1. This referee, an interesting character in the match, Bill Harrigan, policeman, a member of the tactical response group, and I believe he was playing football himself until about a month ago, Graham.
Yes, I believe he was. They say through all the referees' ranks, they claim this man to be the fittest there is. So we certainly shouldn't be seeing any referees getting caught in back play if any of these outside backs make a long break.
Good run by Bugden. Price. Dummy to Sterling. Leabeater goes ahead inside the 22. So Parramatta have put the two big men back to back. Mosley. Blindside for Price. Mosley now calling to Sterling. What do you want? A knock on by Mosley. It'll be a scrum. Incidentally, talking of Harrigan being a footballer, would you believe he was a hooker? So here's the little knock on the NEC replay by Michael Mosley. Bridge tackled on the 10-metre line, and Taylor looks like he's caught his chin on the head of Bridge. This is Jack now. Back and away for Myler to give to Conlon and on to Schofield. Schofield is pursued and he's beaten Delroy. Into touch. Well, he did a lot of good work, Schofield, but he's gone into touch on an early tackle. Sideline comment, Graham Hughes.
Interesting already, Balmain starting to display the tactics which saw them come home so strongly against Canterbury here at Parramatta Stadium. They certainly do believe that they have it on Parramatta in the outside back area, especially in the centres.
Here's Growth now, putting the ball on the 32. Balmain's end of the ground from Sterling to away to Muggleton, now to Delroy. Delroy going towards the other side of the ground as he gives it to Eden. That's Eden playing it to Delroy. And a gain of some 7 metres there for Delroy. Mosley, Sterling kicks for the outside backs. Growth is going fast, and the ball's come off Balmain. It's a try. A try for Mark Laurie. I didn't have time to line the outside Parramatta backs up in relation to Peter Sterling, keeping in mind that he was the kicker. I didn't have time to do that. That head-on replay is not going to help us either. But there it is on the NEC. Of course, Balmain have played at the ball. Gary Jack lost it. Mark Laurie picked it up, and Parramatta have cracked Balmain first again.
Well, once again, it's a try to Parramatta through the Sterling kicking game. He took it up to the line, committed them to make a tackle. The kick was a good one. It fell into a space. Jack had hold of it. He collided with one of his own players. That caused it to come loose, and of course, Laurie was there and scooped it up to do the rest.
Well, Mark Laurie couldn't have ordered a better bounce, and Parramatta goes in for the first 4-pointer. Mark Laurie, as I think I said last Sunday in the commentary, he's one of the unsung heroes of what Parramatta are doing these days. Mike Eden from 10 metres out, just a little bit of an angle for Eden. And there's his kick straight between the uprights, and so Parramatta leads Balmain by 6 points to 0. The NEC big game. Scotland. So this game back in motion, and Sterling is back there to take it.
That's the start that Balmain coach Frank Stanton would have been dreading. Balmain have been getting away to terrible starts against Parramatta, and this one's followed suit. That try came after 11 minutes, and for Balmain to get back into this game, it's absolutely vital to them that they don't let Parramatta score next.
So there's Bugden coming off what they call two pivots, Taylor and Price to Bugden. That puts him a bit wider. He's running at smaller men then. His Lee Beater doing something similar. And it's Peter Wynn who's gone into dummy half. In fact, I've got a feeling that's one of the very few times that Peter has seen the ball in the first 11 minutes. Now, Graham Hughes is talking off camera at the moment anyway with Steve Ella. Let's take you down to the sidelines. Here he is, Steve Ella with Graham Hughes.
Steve, you obviously wanted that start, but Balmain very keen to take you on out wide.
Yeah, they might think we lack a little bit of pace out wide and they're throwing the ball out there, so I think we can match them out there.
Well, of course, also a big clash up front with Bugden and Lee Beater trying to prove themselves against Steve Roach.
Well, Steve Roach is a great player, but then again, so is Jeff Bugden and Terry Lee Beater, so it's going to be a great clash.
I have to put it on you now. There's a shoulder injury that claims have been made. You brought it back from England. You've been missing for 3 weeks. How long is it going to be now?
Well, I damaged it in the Panasonic final, so it's probably another week or two.
Well, can you say anything confidently, or is there more than a little concern?
Well, it's the week proposition at the moment. I'm looking forward to coming back, not next week, but the week after. But like I say, if it hasn't come good by then, I'll take another week and make sure it's right.
Okay, thanks, Steve.
Thanks, Graham.
Yes, I read into that comment from Steve that all is not well with that shoulder. Maybe a bit more than he's prepared to say. Now through Taylor. This is Laurie. And a nice little swerve and a fend, and this is Taylor. Well, Keto went a bit high. That's what Harrigan's called a halt to, although, of course, the referees are under so much pressure from crowds, and some referees can be, in fact, dictated to by crowds. Marquito really didn't do very much at all there to the Parramatta player, but I don't know that Harrigan would have halted play at all if there hadn't been a crowd here. Which is something, of course, we'll never know the answer to, but here's Eden now. Price. Laurie. And here they are working, I call them X's or switches, and when it is tackled inside the 22 line. Through Sterling, it's gone to Kenny. Kenny sees an opening, he thinks it's about time to go, but Bridge was sweating on him. Now it's with Sterling. Long ball for Lowy. Lowy looks for his second. Oh, great fullback tackle by Gary Jack. Tremendous tackle by Jack. That was a try for sure coming up. Here's Sterling putting a kick in. It came off. No, it's a penalty to Balmain. Well, Sterling is saying to Harrigan, it came off a Balmain player, sir. Price has now gone in to ask the question, but Harrigan had no doubts.
That was the right decision by Harrigan. It did come off a Balmain player, but the Balmain player was harassed by the Parramatta player who was in front of Sterling when he kicked it.
So the penalty taken and the tap to follow. About 25 metres out. And as Bill said earlier, Balmain, they really have to score next. Of all the teams in the competition, I think I'd be almost talking across the board for all clubs that you don't want to be playing catch-ups against. It's Parramatta. Wayne Pearce. Back for Benny Elias. Hardwick. Dummy, but they're not going ahead. Now he is, the little fellow. 7 metres his side of the halfway. Benny Elias. Roach. Grass-cutting tackle there by Mosley. Elias at first receiver. His kick is a good one. It sent Taylor on a rush across the ground. He's got Eden with him, but he's run away from him. And Taylor makes a run outside the 22. This is Delroy. Ooh, Sirenen got the head on the nose. Win. One-hander back and across from Sterling to Taylor. Taylor looks for support, but they were too far away. He's tackled 15 metres his side of the halfway line. 6-0 in favour of Parramatta. Sterling blindside. Back to Win. Out now for Mosley, and across and put down by Taylor, picked up by Pearce. Play to Elias, given to Bridge. Now to Myler. Myler's away from Eden. He's away from another. Myler, 10 metres away from the line. By Jove, he doesn't look to be going very fast, but he must be.
Deceptively quick.
Elias, Pearce. Long ball required for Gale. The run around from Elias now. The ball goes loose and Taylor cleans it up for Parramatta. Mosley. Ooh. Hardwick was around the ankles and Roach came over the top. Hardwick is injured, but I thought Mosley might have been. Win now. Eden. In and around Gale. Gale's pursuing, but the tackle is made more towards the centre of the ground by Marquito. Play back to Mark Laurie. Hardwick is still on the ground. Balmain trainer with him now, as you can see. Now it's Taylor. Oh, that must have been very close to a forward pass. 5 tackles gone. Look for the kick now. Muggleton, a dummy half, puts it in, but Jack is right underneath it. He's coming away from 18 metres out from his own line. Coming out towards the 32. He's only 25 up the ground now. Tackled by Mosley and also by Delroy. Dummy half Myler. Myler back to Elias. Away from Taylor. Away from Laurie. Gone to Gale. Gale gets in and away. Gale looks for support. He finds Gary Bridge. Bridge is over the halfway, over the 40, comes to the 32, chips over Sterling, inside the 22, and he's still got the ball, Gary Bridge, and it's still play on. Good piece of work by Balmain, particularly Gary Bridge. And a penalty to Balmain. Against Mike Eden. There's the offender, Eden, and there's Kevin Hardwick still getting attention, and the trainer is calling for the stretcher. Well, he's probably got to call timeout here, the referee. Very, very sick boy. And Conlon has opted for the kick, and the referee now has acknowledged timeout. Who are they getting ready, Graham?
Well, Frank Stanton was amongst the crowd talking to Michael Perry, the reserve grade hooker, who of course is also renowned for playing in the second row. Obviously he'll move straight into that position.
Frank Stanton, the coach. And there goes, is it the Balmain doctor going out there, is it? Let's have a look at this incident involving Hardwick. He went in to make a tackle there on Mosley. He made a legitimate tackle. He appeared to get maybe Steve Roach's knee in the kidney area. And I wouldn't be at all surprised if in fact that's what happened. So it's obvious that they're not very keen to move Kevin Hardwick without the proper equipment. And in fact that's what they're doing. They're sending out, there is a name for this.
I think it's a Jordan frame, which is the sort of stretcher they can build around the person that's injured in the case that you've got a back or a neck injury.
So Kevin Hardwick is taken from the field, and you see elbows, intentional knees, you see stiff arms, and goodness knows what in rugby league, and yet from a simple thing like you saw on the replay, here's Kevin Hardwick taken from the field on stretcher. And a lot of concern being shown for him. Here's the kick by Conlon now from a very wide angle. Sterling takes it in goal. He's forced to pass it in goal. Muggleton, oh, gee, Pearce hit him hard. That was a smother tackle by Pearce on Muggleton. It was a beauty. Okay, Graham, you've spoken to Dr. Clifford.
Yes, he really couldn't confirm anything. He said at this stage they're very, very hopeful of treating it as cracked vertebra and a disc problem in his back. So it's Bugden now to play it. 10 metres out from his own line.
Taylor throws the dummy. He's about 15 metres down the ground. 6-0 is the score after that lengthy delay. And Sterling puts the kick into an open space. Jack's got a long run across there. Gale's coming back for it. It's an interesting contest out on that wing where Gale's playing. He's marking Michael Eden. But on the other side of the coin, I think Eden would have a hell of a trouble trying to keep pace with Gale. This is Perry now.
I think the important thing for Balmain is this at this point of the game. They've had no trouble really in finding holes in the Parramatta defence, but they haven't held possession for long enough periods to be able to apply a lot of pressure. If they can just concentrate and hold the ball for 6 tackles, I think they'll find plenty of gaps.
So the ball coming over the touchline, and it's a Balmain feed, I think you'll find here. It looked like it was actually deflected from the grasp of Pearce by a Parramatta player. The crowd are hooting.
Oh, that's a great push by Parramatta.
And they get the penalty, so Balmain penalised, in fact, for collapsing. So I was talking about the unsettling effect of something like that happening to the Balmain players, of course, but it did have an effect on Parramatta players too. Don't worry about that. They've got their share of concern for all and sundry, even their opponents on the day. Parramatta's held this ball for 51 tackles, Balmain for 26, as Mosley makes a scurry down to the Balmain 22. Sterling. Here's Kenny. And he's tackled again on the 22 line. Mosley as the ruck half. Taking play towards the centre as Parramatta work for a play that's coming on this one, I would think. It's the stacked blind side, and Eden is tackled on 5. Sterling will probably go right across the ground with this kick. Here he is now. And there's his kick. It's very high. It's coming across the ground. Laurie's gone up with Gary Jack. Jack is able to stand his ground. It's a 22-place kick. Nice take by Gary Jack. Laurie put a lot of pressure on him. A quick restart by the Tigers. And an ordinary pass by Ben Elias. He knew what to do, but the execution wasn't real brilliant. Here's Gary Schofield, wrapped up by Price. Now 7 metres on the Balmain side of halfway. Played by Schofield. Conlon. Bridge. Cuts out road. Shoot. Oh, I could see the blue and gold jumper coming up on that rather loose pass. I thought it might have been Kenny. It was Taylor. It's back with Schofield now. Inside goes Gardner. And he's put down by Kenny around the legs and win over the top. That's Bridge. Elias. Perry. Taylor the tackler. The ball gone loose. Elias goes in for it. And Delroy too. And Delroy's injured. It'll be a scrum. Myler. Jack tackled by Muggleton. Conlon with the ball. Brought down about 12 metres on his side of the halfway. Crowd roared at that feed of the scrum by Bridge. Kenny's got the ball. Now it's Price. That was good work by Gary Bridge out there, because Kenny came up with the ball totally against the play. And the penalty goes to Parramatta 32 metres out. I don't know that Mike Eden would shoot for this. See it here. It's good work by Bridge, because Kenny's come up with that ball totally against the run of play, and Bridge was able to not only cover Kenny, he covered Price all in the one go. So they've already taken the kick for line, Parramatta. Leabeater. Price. Now Sterling has got Taylor at first receiver. He's at second. Here's Taylor. Now Sterling. And inside for Bugden. So they've used up 3 plays. They're 9 metres out from the line. Mosley. He's jinked it a bit there. Sterling. I don't know whether Mosley might have forgotten the script there. There's Wynn. Wynn. Try. Yes, that's a try for Peter Wynn. And a pretty soft try, really. It's been a fairly tight contest. And I must admit, I'm surprised to see that Parramatta were able to get over with the ease that it appeared on our first look at it, and I'm not going to change my mind having seen it on the replay.
Well, the try came really because it was a quick play to ball by Parramatta. The Balmain defence was never set. Wynn was able to skip on the outside of Marquito. He then stepped inside of Perry and was able simply to reach out and come up with the 4 points.
Well, those long arms of Peter Wynn's are coming in handy. Didn't he do something like that? He did last Sunday against the Saints. And Parramatta number 10, Peter Wynn, picks up the second try of the match, and Parramatta lead by 10 points to 0. 1 out of 1 for Eden. In fact, he's got this kick from the same position. Turns his back on the ball, walks away from it. I remember seeing a Frenchman do that once upon a time.
Puyo-Bear.
No, I wasn't going to say Puyo-Bear. I'm not that old, Billy. Turn it up. You might have seen Puyo-Bear. I'm talking about a bloke called Gilbert Banaus. Conversion by Eden. 12 points to 0, the score in favour of the Eels over the Tigers. Start for Conlon. And it's gone to Kenny. Fairly typical of Brett Kenny. You might have noticed he took the ball and he had a look around for a runner. And the only bloke there was Sterling, and I think Sterling said, "You take it." Bugden. They're doing a fine job, these bigger Balmain forwards, in meeting Bugden at the advantage line. He's not getting past it like he has done against some of the other forward packs that he's dealt with. Both he and Leadbeater are being met adjacent to the play of the ball, and that's good defence.
I don't think Balmain are playing that badly. The area they're falling down on is simply their handling. The last try they scored came because Perry knocked the ball on. Parramatta quickly after got a penalty, and they scored in that set of 6. Now, Balmain just making too many handling mistakes. Everything else they're doing is okay.
Played by Jack. Wayne Pearce. And he's to the halfway line. And the two front rowers take care of Pearce as they go back now to the Cronin side of the ground, the Cronin touchline side. And here's Jack. And he's got the ball away to Gale. Now let's have a look at him. He kicks ahead. He'll easily beat Sterling with speed. And he's made it! Oh, that's a great try. That's a beautiful piece of work by Scott Gale. Probably the fastest player in the game. The moment he chipped over Peter Sterling's head, I had no doubts there was no contest on in the race for the ball. Gary Jack did a fine job. There may have been a hint of a forward pass. It was so minute that I certainly wasn't going to be attracted away from this work that Scott Gale was doing. And that's a tremendous solo effort. Plus, of course, a bit of help there from Gary Jack as he gave him that pass.
Yeah, let's give a lot of credit to Jack for getting that ball away, but there's no substitute in rugby league for pace, and that's what Scott Gale displayed as he gave chase and fell on the ball for a great try.
None from 2 for Conlon. In fact, that was his readout at the end of their first round encounter. That kick is just wide and no change to the score. Parramatta 12, Balmain 4. Fed by Sterling, and it's a scrum one against the feed by Balmain. And it was, Bridge tried desperately to get the ball away to Gardner. And Gardner could well have been in to score there, but let's have a look at it now. Bridge got a one-handed at Gardner, and Russell couldn't take it.
Once again, a case of Balmain's handling letting them down. Balmain are doing some good things. They're looking bright in attack. They're backing up well, but they just can't hold the football, and you can't win football games if you can't do that.
Well, as I said earlier, Bill, they did the same in the first round. Their handling errors were atrocious by comparison with Parramatta. Oh, gee, Gary Bridge went in to take Growth. And Growth...
It's always a tough assignment, tackling errors.
Now, just looking at Bridge, he's still trying to get up. He's up now. In a kind of way. Cut-out pass, and then swept across to Eden. Conlon read the play nicely. Win. 360 and then back and away for Eden. Tackle by Gale. 5 tackles. So Sterling calling for it. His kick down the ground, and is it going to find it? Yes, it is. Oh, that's a good kick. He was so close to the touchline. In fact, he probably was on the 10-metre line. I'm not quite sure. Let's have a look at it. Yes, he was. He was actually 9 metres in from touch, and he was about 10 metres his side of the halfway, and he's found touch 12 metres from the line. Well,
that's radar precision.
Well, that's a good kick in anybody's language. Doesn't matter who you're barracking for. And here they are winning a scrum now against the feed. That levels it up. Sterling almost was able to do it himself. He's tackled on the 10-metre line. And there's trouble here for Balmain as Wynn wheels off there from dummy half and takes it to within 3 metres of the line. The dummy half now is Michael Mosley. It's been struck for. That's 6 more as it's picked up behind the ruck there by Price. Dummy half now is Lee Beater, so he's restarted the tackle count. It's come to Sterling. He cuts out one. It's come off the fingers of Taylor, and the advantage applies as Myler comes up with the ball for Balmain. Bridge now. Sirenen. Under 2 minutes. Elias, Roach. Mosley around the bootlaces and Laurie over the top. This is Myler, a long ball out to Schofield. He gets it back inside for Wayne Pearce. Pearce looks around. He finds Myler. It came off the fingers of Gardner, and it's fallen on by Mike Eden. I don't know what he's doing over here. In fact, he was standing shoulder to shoulder with Gross on the left wing. Unless he was, I think he might have been giving Sterling a rest at halfback. Sterling at the moment was out on the right wing where Eden had come from. Sterling now dummy half. And Lee Beater's put it down. Ooh, Perry almost had it, and the referee has called it back for a knock-on both ways. Well, a lot of stoppages in this first half. Of course, we had that nasty incident involving Kevin Hardwick. But apart from that, there's been a lot of stoppages. In fact, there's the siren in the background. Yes. The referee says that's enough. So at half-time, Parramatta leading Balmain 2 tries to 1 and by 12 points to 4. Let's take a sideline comment from Graham Hughes.
I really think you can take one out of the cricket manual for this. Catches win your matches. Balmain, the handling is letting them down rather badly. They've made enough breaks really to be well ahead on the scoreboard, but they're not. They're behind 12-4. I think if they can maintain a bit of pressure by looking after those handling mistakes in the second half, they certainly can win this one by looking for their wide men, Gale, Gardner and Schofield. I think they can win it out wide because they have it on Parramatta for sheer pace.
With Parramatta leading 12-4 at half-time. Graham Hughes, you've got a replacement to report?
Yes, there is. Brian Jackson in 19 is out there. He's taken the place of Mick Dora, I believe, suffering with some bruised ribs. Also, a further report on Kevin Hardwick. Kevin has been taken to Westmead Hospital, although the news rather hopeful is the Balmain camp. They feel that it's only bruised vertebrae. It's a rather grey area. The Balmain doctor didn't really want to go into it. He said it's one of those areas you really can't make anything confirmed. He said that they're sending him for x-rays to check, but they feel that he should be right with only bruising to his back, as I said.
Well, that's the best news I've heard probably all season, as we find Balmain now taking it away from their own 10-metre line, and it's Marquito who plays it. As you have a look now at the tackle counts, and Balmain had to make a hell of a lot, didn't they? More than Parramatta. Of course, that comes down to possession held from Marquito and Roach, 25 and 22. This is Myler. And the ball on the ground and a knock-on. We're going to have a scrum about 15 metres on the Balmain side of halfway.
Parramatta are looking fairly good at the moment. They've done everything right in the first half, but I certainly wouldn't be prepared to write Balmain off. I think they did enough good things to suggest they could get back into the match. The area they were falling down on was the fundamental of handling. If they can get that in shape, well, they must be in with some chance.
It's Kenny now, 35 metres out. The ball apparently stolen from him, and it's going to be a penalty to Parramatta that they may opt to go for goal here. This is the NEC replay of Brett Kenny coming to ground. Tackle by now is well and truly completed. His kick was straight over the black dot. He didn't put any frills on it, but he got the reward that he was looking for. 2 points, and Parramatta lead by 14 points to 4. Quick restart by the Tigers, and Growth coming out to the 22.
I don't know if that's the direction I'd have been kicking the ball.
Definitely not. You might as well kick it to King Kong. Mosley. Sterling. Taylor. Kenny. Bugden. Now it's Wynn. Sterling. Little kick over the top. Taylor's looking for it. Cleaned up out there by Wayne Pearce. Well read by Pearce. Myler. Conlon. Jack. Garton's outside him. Conlon. Myler. Elias and Cyril. Mosley went in low. Bugden came over the top. It was a good tackle on the big fellow. Bridge. Myler. Pearce. It's down for Myler to leave it out the back for Elias. And he gets a pass away in desperation. It's 6 more tackles for Balmain, but Schofield has knocked it on now. Conlon, Jack into the back line. Back for Conlon. Play on the halfway. Oh dear, there's a lot of hesitation.
There's a lot of passing in the Balmain side, but not much running at the moment. That's more like it.
Roach. Oh, good ball. Out to Marquito. Comes back into the middle and back for Benny Elias. Now it's with Perry. Up to the 22. Wynn gets him from behind. Play on the Parramatta 22 line. Bridge, Myler, Schofield. Good spread of the ball to Conlon, to Jack, and there's the number on the other side that they were looking for. Gartner, now Conlon, now Pearce. Pearce back inside for Bridge as Balmain keep it going and really ad-libbing their way down towards that try line. Ray Price is down. He's in a lot of pain at the moment as Balmain try to ram home this advantage they have at the moment. And it's the turnover. Lee Beater.
You could see the transformation that took place in the Balmain side as soon as they started to drive the ball forward.
It's Judge Jim from the far side. And Conlon's being called out for Balmain. Report from the sidelines, Graham Hughes.
Yes, Terry Leabeater rushed over the sideline calling out to the bench that he wants to have a check with the doc. He feels as though he may have broken his cheekbone. He just wants to keep going for the next 2 or 3 minutes to see how it goes.
Gale working the scrum.
Balmain looking for a bit more attack from that area. He's fed the last 2, Scott Gale.
And the ball going loose, but it's a penalty to Balmain against Parramatta for stealing the ball. Handling errors to 8. Balmain the worse for wear there. Wide ball for Pearce. Myler. That's Maguire. Mosley around the legs. Roach. Elias did well to pick it up. Wynn making the tackle. Bridge. Myler. Conlon left it down. Kenny's away. Sheridan. Gale's after Kenny. Here's a chase and a half. Gale's got him. Oh, great run by Gale. Mike Eden will score. Yes. Well, Balmain, they couldn't recover in time. Loose ball. Kenny swept upon it. And then one of the delights of the game, watching a bloke like Brett Kenny in open space. This is how it happened. Conlon couldn't take it. Kenny was there, and away he went. Gale set sail after him with Paul Sirenen on the left. It didn't take Gale long to round him up. And then, of course, Kenny up and a fairly quick play of the ball. He looked around to see if he had a dummy half, but Balmain only had Sirenen, Gale, and maybe one or two others. And then Eden just strolled into a huge gap. You could have put the Queen Mary through there. And Eden scores Parramatta's third try. Eden, 25 years of age. He's had a checkered rugby league career, to say the very least. A Rothmans medalist one year, and then this year he's been reserved for reserves on a couple of occasions. His kick to convert his own try is successful, and Parramatta really zooming away to a lead now of 20 points to 4. Paul Mayers on the sidelines, getting ready to take the field. One of the young Parramatta giants. Growth's away. He's over the 40 and the 32. Jack's after him. Oh, great tackle by Gary Jack. Well, two of the real touch judges just arriving, by the way. I don't know whether anybody saw it. Look at Growth in full flight, and the Australian fullbacks coming across, and cuts him down. But I wonder what Growth said to him there as he turned around. But Gale on Kenny, Jack on Growth. Two beautiful sights in rugby league. The Mayers is going on to replace whom, Graham?
Well, it will be Lee Vita. The Parramatta camp is pretty sure that Terry has broken his cheekbone.
Oh, no. Oh, that's tough luck. Still out there at the moment is Lee Vita. His bridge sweeps it away to Jack. His kick going down to Peter Sterling. And Growth juggles it. Now he plays it just into Balmain's area. Win. Muggleton. Bugden. Well, that's Lee Beater, in fact. There goes Paul Mayers out in 22. That's been a courageous performance by Lee Beater. Not only to stay there, but to take the ball up too. And it's been confirmed apparently that there seems to be a fractured cheekbone. So a very disappointed Terry Lee Beater leaves the field. And Paul Mayers is out there as Parramatta win the scrum. Kenny it is who takes it ahead. He fades inside for Muggleton, comes through a hole, finds Jackson with a flick pass. He's tackled midway between the 22 and halfway. Balmain's under the ground. Wynn goes to the blind side, steps out of one. Flick passes for Eden. Eden is tackled 30 metres away. Played back to Ray Price. Now Sterling. Here's Mayers coming onto it. Met there by Roach. Correct me if I'm wrong, was it not against Balmain that Mayers suffered that injury in the first round? Something tells me it was. His lorry driven into the ground on the 32. Price kicks ahead, Jack goes back, bounce of the ball. Oh, Price! Ray Price! He's got a beaut bounce and he's gone in to score. Well, the veteran of many years of rugby union and rugby league displayed something that he probably learnt many years ago. He's used it in league many times, but he is not frightened to kick when the opportunity presents itself. He got a bounce off the point and plunges in for another try. And the hex or the hoodoo that Parramatta appears to have on Balmain continues to 5 matches. Ray Price, try scorer. 33 and looking more like a red wine every day. 4 out of 4 for Eden. Eden from 9 metres in is about 18 metres out. His most difficult kick of the day. Brought it around all right. He's got it. 5 out of 5 for Mike Eden. When you're hot, you're hot. And that's exactly the case for him today. 26-4. So Lady Luck has smiled in 2 different directions on Terry Leabeater, all in the space of a week. A baby last week, and he's suffered what possibly could be a fractured cheekbone today, as he comes to the sidelines to talk to Graham Hughes.
Terry, you rushed over to the sideline calling out. You're pretty convinced that that cheekbone is fractured?
Yeah, I done it a couple of years ago. It's just a depressed fracture, and just requires an operation to pop it back out. But I think I'll wait till the end of the year. I don't want to really miss any time during the year. It's not too bad. It's not as bad as the other one.
Well, when you missed time last time, how many weeks would you expect to be out?
It'd be 8 weeks, 10 weeks before I'd play again. So that's just too costly. As I said, it's not as bad as the other one, so I'll play the rest of the year out and get done at the end of the year, I think.
Well, that means you're saying to me that you're looking to get back on the field when?
Next week.
Well, Terry, good luck with that.
All right, thanks, mate.
I told you about the handling errors in their first encounter, and they're creeping up that way again, with a lot more made by Balmain than Parramatta. And it's a significant feature in the game, Graham.
Well, it certainly is. As I said before half-time, that I did believe that they could get back into the game and possibly win it. They had 5 or 6 scoring chances.
Here's Jackson, back into the middle for Taylor. Kenny backs up after starting the movement. He gets it back to Taylor. Taylor certainly can't get it away, and he's tackled 20 metres out from the line. But that was a glimpse of the brilliance of Kenny. And now it's Wynn going from dummy half. He'll score his second try. Well, that was disgraceful defence by Balmain. Peter Wynn has scored 2 tries in this match, and both times, and heavens above, I'm not trying to detract from Peter Wynn's performance, but both times he's just found Balmain not wanting to know about it. And if you remember Mike Eden's try, it was similar, where there just was no urgency in marker defence. 2 tries for Peter Wynn. Is it his birthday? Well, can he make it 6 out of 6? Looks okay. Looks good. He's got it. Eden from the sideline. 32-4, the Eels over the Tigers, the NEC big game. Sterling. Mosley held on the 22. Laurie. Muggledon. Pumping off Myler. Jackson goes a few more metres down the ground. Taylor. And that's how much Balmain have dropped off in defence. Taylor actually fell over. He was there for a little while and got up and was still able to gain a few metres. Gartner. More replacements coming on for Parramatta. In the singular, Graham.
Yeah, Steve Sharp in 23. He'll be going on for the man, as I said, who was suffering from the virus this week, Peter Sterling. Sharp will go to the second row. Mark Laurie to the centres. Brian Jackson out to the right wing, and Mike Eden will come in to feed the scrums.
Rice. Gale. Roach. Sirenen. Can he get it away? They had 3 on 2 on the right of the ground. Pearce. Through Conlon. It's gone to Schofield. Gartner coming in ground. Tackled 10 metres in from the touchline. He's just into Parramatta's area. A long pass by Bridge out to Jack. Makito.
Price and Sterling making the tackle jointly. 5 tackles gone as Roach comes up with the ball. Now it's with Bridge. Sweeps it across to Pearce. On it goes to Conlon. Now with Gartner. Gartner coming up to the 32. His pass has gone back. Benny Elias decides to give it a kick. Picked up by Myler. He'll nearly score. He's got Taylor to beat. He's around him. He's got around. Oh, he was on his own. He gave the pass to Gary Bridge just as his attempt to beat Eric Growth became successful. Well, have a look at this. As a touch judge comes in to make a report, but here's the ball going. Benny Elias says, oh, blow it, I'll just kick it and hope for the best. Myler gets a great bounce. Now watch Myler. He comes to Taylor, he beats Taylor, and now he says, I've got you to beat. And he passes, and he's coming out of Growth's tackle. If he had hung on, he scores. Of course, at the time, he was probably thinking, I've got support, I'll use it. Sterling has come from the field, and Ross Conlon, I do believe, has been sent to the sin bin for 10 minutes. Penalty to be taken, the tap anyway, about 6 metres inside the quarter. Jackson. Price. Mears. They've reached the centre of the ground. And Eden sends Wynn up the middle. Eden. Rubber kick. And I do believe Wayne Pearce was able to field that ball. It was Myler. This is Pearce running with it now. Schofield. Roach. Scrums and penalties. Well, 10 all the scrums, and I think it was 1 each as far as against the feed is concerned, and 11-7 the penalties to Parramatta. Isn't it amazing in rugby league? Well, it's been going on for years, of course, how a club seems to have the wood on another, and yet that other club seems to have a chance of beating a team that's got the wood on, say, Parramatta in this case. I'm talking about the triangle between among Parramatta, Balmain and Canterbury. It's an interesting rugby league discussion that takes place often these days. Played by Ray Price. There's Taylor going ahead to the 32, backing up as Lillis. He's got Wynn with him looking for 3. And Wynn stands down near the 10-metre line. Eden. Jackson. Ball going back behind Muggleton, but the referee has ruled a knock-on. Yes, Balmain seems to have the plan, if you like, to stretch Canterbury and, in fact, to beat them.
I think the answer to that question is purely in different playing styles. I think Canterbury's aggressive style enables them to get home against Parramatta, but, of course, Parramatta's disciplined football seems to worry Balmain very much.
Gale feeds the scrum, and Elias is on the deck, so it's a penalty to Parramatta. To the line, Mears tries to burrow under. It's a penalty. It's a penalty to Balmain. Indication he's giving appears to be double movement. It's an area of the game. One of the 5 tries scored, being scored by Price. A kick over the top and the ball bouncing on its point. This is Mears. Ball taken from him by Maguire. The referee Harrigan, I think, was about to blow the whistle and give a penalty, but then the siren sounded, and that's it. With Parramatta defeating Balmain by 32 points to 4. Another big win for the Eels at the stadium. And there's the scoreboard as we look down on it. Peter Wynn scoring 2 tries. Laurie, Eden and Price 1 each. Eden, a good goal-kicking performance, 6 out of 6. And Gale, the lone contributor for Balmain.
Let's have a look at the results of other matches played today in the Winfield Cup. And Canberra 26, Illawarra 12, with of course the Bears defeating the Panthers yesterday. Souths and Cronulla a 14-all draw, 32-4 Parramatta over Balmain, and Manly a whopping 52-20 win over St George.
The marauding Maroons Manly opened the scoring at the SCG after 10 minutes when Mitchell Cox put Chris Close into the slot, and the big centre made it easy for David Ronson to score. Stuart Davis went in soon after before Close was at it again, storming onto a Mal Cochran pass to crash over, and Manly led 14-0. St George had some hope when Steve Funnell plunged over from close range, and at the break Manly led 16 points to 6. But the second half saw the Eagles run right, finishing with 9 tries in a sensational display, even minus Des Hasler. From this play the ball, Cliff Lyons burrowed over from dummy half, and Manly led 22 points to 8. Walford scored for St George before Phil Blake, who had a big game in Hasler's spot, showed that blistering pace to make it 34 points to 14. Then a clever chip kick by Mitchell Cox caught the Saints napping, and Dale Shearer got to the ball to score, and it was 40 points to 14. Noel Cleal put Lyons in again before Peter Cullum sent Shearer racing away to bring up the 50 points for the Sea Eagles. Manly at their very best while the Saints can start planning for 87. 52 points to 20 winners, Manly, in their highest score ever against the Saints.
Early in the match at Redfern Oval, Tony Rampling and David Hatch had a difference of opinion that put Rampling in the sin bin for 10 minutes. The hungry Sharks were unlucky to have an earlier try disallowed before posting first points when Gavin Miller offloaded for Scott Gustard. The Rabbitohs came up with their first try when the ball travelled out along the backs for Brett Ross, who perfectly drew the defence for Neil Baker, giving both teams 6 points at half-time. South broke the deadlock only minutes into the second half when Jason Moon skirted down the touchline before passing to Bronco de Jura. But the Sharks weren't beached yet, storming back with a penalty goal and a converted try to take the lead for the first time, 14-12. However, South kicked a penalty goal in the latter stages, leaving the final score at 14-all.
At Seaford Oval, the Canberra Raiders were stretched for much of the match against the Illawarra Steelers. Quick hands by Phil Carey, and Ivan Hanjak set up this try for fullback Gary Belcher. Final scoreline, Canberra 26, Illawarra 12.
On to Tooheys Monday Night Football, where Canterbury Bankstown are trying to get back on the rails after losing their last 2 matches. Canterbury, everybody's pick in 1986 to make it 3 in a row as far as the Winfield Cup is concerned, but they've certainly been struggling to find their very best form. They're up against a team that has proved a bogey to the Bulldogs in the last few years. In fact, Western Suburbs drew 8-all in the first round. So it certainly was going to be a tough match last Monday night at the Sydney Cricket Ground under lights.
Canterbury running towards the Randwick end of the Sydney Cricket Ground, and Andrew Farrer gets us underway. Coming down from Cogger to take it back. Trevor wearing the number 6 tonight. This is Brett Clark in number 2. Reminding you, they played an 8-all draw in their first encounter this year. First Winfield Cup encounter. It's Craig Ellis. He's tackled just outside the 32 line. Fella. And already one can see an urgency in the Canterbury defence. They're hitting in 2s and 3s. There's Derek Fox. An Englishman puts the kick in, going down straight to Phil Sigsworth, based just outside his 22. He's made a 10-metre run and he's met by the Magpies defence. In the centre of the ground, with Canterbury repeating, guarding the Paddington end of the field. This is O'Brien. 1984 grand final hero for Canterbury. Billy Johnston, a little dummy out to the open side, and then they hit it back to the blind. And off comes the headgear, number 11, wearing it, Peter Kelly. And the penalty goes to Canterbury Bankstown. I'm blowed if I know about players. They seem to have an obsession. The moment somebody wears a headgear, they want to rip it off and throw it away. Lamb, got a kick inside West half, and Drummond has been unable to take it. 6 more tackles. It certainly came off his hand. Here's O'Brien coming away now, and Canterbury up towards the 22 line. Put down by Langmack, scooped up by Crooks. Dummy half is free. Fella getting it away urgently to Trevor Crogger. Lamb has him tied up together with Langmack. Now it's Clark. And again, I've got to point out to you just how concentrated and severe this Canterbury defence is. West, with the ball, are not getting past the previous play the ball. And that's not... it's not a bad trick if you can keep it up, and Canterbury are certainly doing that in the opening minutes. 5 gone now for Wests. Here comes the kick. Charge down, came off the back of Folkes. It's play on. Oh, what a bounce for Folkes! And Steve Folkes goes in to score. Well, I outlined the rule that covers the charge down yesterday. The ball rising off the boot of the kicker, it can be charged down with any part of the body. And this hit Steve Folkes on the back. And then, of course, he pirouetted, got a tremendous bounce, and away goes the Canterbury number 9 and the New South Wales second rower. Steve Folkes scores the first try of the match.
In many respects, this was a try that was a result of constant pressure. Canterbury been applying all sorts of pressure to Western Suburbs. They couldn't get out of their own quarter. They tried to do that with a clearing kick. It wasn't a good one. Folkes charged it down, picked it up, and of course he was fast enough to carry through and go over for the try.
An easy one for Lamb. Flags up. Scoreline Canterbury 6, Wests 0. Terry Lamb's the dummy half. Folkes. Oh, a lot of metres there for Folkes. He ran 10 metres before he found them. Steve Mortimer. Terry Lamb. Steve Mortimer. Beautiful work. Gillespie. He gave a pass. He knew he'd made a mistake. He cleaned it up himself. And look at them bouncing this ball around between them. It's the Peter Mortimer and his brother Chris. It's a forward pass. Barnes has called them back. Deserved a better result, really. And back at the cricket ground, the congratulations are being handed out to Rod Petherbridge. The scrum went down. West fed it. Petherbridge came in from fullback. He made the extra man, and that's as simple as it was. Making that extra man, he was able to run into an opening. He crossed the 32 and the 22 and was going in to score. Clear of Sigsworth, the nearest chaser. Here he is head on, this big lump of a fellow, one of the form players all year long. And Rod Petherbridge, the try scorer for Western Suburbs. One of the gambles, of course, you take in live television is taking a commercial, but it seemed a sweet and opportune time to take it. There it was on record, Rod Petherbridge scoring a try. A carbologist. Penalty to the Bulldogs. His feet across against Fella. Fella indicating to the referee, that's fine. I have my feet across, but make him put it in the centre. Well, and if you're hoping for that in rugby league, you're hoping for a miracle. Particularly from the Archbishop. Done. Oh! Yes! Kelly! Yes! Peter Mortimer! Away now for Billy Johnston! It's a try! That's great, great support rugby league by Canterbury Bankstown. Billy Johnston scores the try. This was simply a case of players taking it ahead, drawing the defence, committing the defence, looking for support that was ever present. Dunn and Kelly and Peter Mortimer, and then Billy Johnston scoring a great rugby league try.
Well, this is great backing up by Canterbury. First of all, it was done. He hit the line. He turned, saw Kelly was there. Kelly himself did a hit and spin. He saw Peter Mortimer on his outside. Then Peter Mortimer popped the ball up. He heard a call from Billy Johnson, and Johnson had a bit of work to do still himself, but he was able to cross for a tremendous team try.
Across now for Fox, and this is Cogger. Now it's Williams. He cuts out Henderson, finds Drummond. Drummond going very fast down that touchline. Need a touch. About 10 metres out. He really turned on the speed here, Drummond. He went around O'Brien on the Tui's replay. The touch judge had to hurdle O'Brien, then turned and politely apologised.
Showed a lot of pace then, Drummond, because O'Brien's no slouch.
Fox. The defence coming from all over the place. Terry Lamb hit Fox, and he took him back actually five metres before he'd finished with him. Williams. And look at this. Williams actually was tackled 25 out. He finished up 32 out before the referee apparently deemed that the tackle had been completed. This is Bilberger. Ellis overrunning it. Fox picking it up on the bounce. It's gone out to Brett Clark. Langmack driving in there with Andrew Farrer. Fella. Ball going out the back, and it's gone over the touchline. It'll be a Canterbury feed, I do believe. It seemed to come off Brett Clark. Whether in fact he was playing the advantage, I'm not quite sure. Let's have a look at it. Yes, Canterbury's feed. Just outside the 22. Same tunnel. Lamb. Cogger realising that Canterbury are in, what's the word I'm looking for? They're certainly in a ruthless mood.
Oh, Sigsworth over the halfway. Here's the support. Guess who? Barber. Terry Lamb over the 22. Petrovic chases. Peter Mortimer. He's going in to score a Canterbury try, and a beauty. Phil Sigsworth was the man who made the break, and I'm rather glad that he figured in that try, because the point I was making about Canterbury looking for another player for fullback to replace Potter, I wasn't particularly talking about Sigsworth, but heavens above, he'd have to be a damn good replacement or a damn good find at this time of the year to be better than some of the players available to the Bulldogs. And this man, Terry Lamb, there's no better player in the game as far as backing up is concerned than Terry Lamb, and Peter Mortimer scores the try on the Tui's replay.
Sigsworth cracked them open. He pushed through a tackle. He first of all looked on the outside for support. There was none there. So he looked back on the inside and found Terry Lamb. Now, Lamb could never really find his legs here. He started to flounder. So he looked back on the outside, and there was Peter Mortimer. He did a good winger's job in support and did the rest oh so easily.
Beautiful kick. Splitting the uprights. 20 points to 4. Monday Night Football. I think one of the features at the cricket ground tonight was an appearance by the Mean Machine, the swimming team, but I think we're watching the Rugby League Mean Machine at the moment. This, Steve Mortimer was faking for a penalty. Now, they've got a penalty, Canterbury. It was a shepherd on Western Suburbs. Mortimer kicked. Freeman became an obstruction, and Mortimer appealed for the penalty. There's the obstruction for Shepherd. And while Steve Mortimer was complaining to the referee for not getting a penalty for being knocked over late, they picked up a penalty anyway a little bit further down the ground. So Steve dropped off his complaint as Canterbury take the tap. A long ball from Billy Johnston. So too from Steve Mortimer and Terry Lamb. It's come down off the shoulder to Andrew Farrer. Langmack. 10-metre line, put down by Terry Lamb. Play by Petherbridge. Crooks. Dunn and Chris Mortimer making the tackle.
Well, I'm almost getting a sore neck from having it on this angle, watching Western Suburbs trying to get the ball up out of their own area, and Canterbury
Drummond's put it down. O'Brien will score. O'Brien scores for Canterbury after Drummond, who's having an unhappy visit to the Sydney Cricket Ground. That's the kindest I can be. O'Brien capitalised on a Drummond mistake. And here it is on the Tui's replay. Des seems like he might be having some trouble with the Sydney Cricket Ground lights. As as I just said, maybe I'm being kind to him. He's having an absolute horror.
Western Suburbs took the risk of moving the ball out of their own quarter, but really it was passing in safety. There was no pressure on Drummond whatsoever. He just couldn't hold the ball. O'Brien was there to pick it up. He said, thank you very much, that'll do me.
Steve O'Brien scores the try for Canterbury, their fourth. Lamb's Kitty just stabbed it, and he got it. 26 points to 4. Canterbury leading Wests. Schubert brings it back to the centre of the ground. And play only just getting started in front of the siren, which is sounding in the background, and Chris Mortimer comes back with it. And he takes the tackle, so that's the end of the first half of proceedings here, with Canterbury Bankstown scoring 4 tries, Lamb kicking 5 goals and leading by 26 points to 4 as the players leave. Petherbridge tackled by Lamb, and coming in over the top was Farah. Fox, Schubert, Crooks, Kelly and Folks making the tackle there. Bilberger. Back to Fowler. Petherbridge taken by Farah. Cogger, Fox, Williams. Long pass put down by Henderson, picked up by Lamb. Tackled by Schubert. Sigsworth. Good fend by Sigsworth. There's a try. Right in front of the MA Noble, the Bradman Stand people. Sigsworth having a good game tonight. Just a very simple piece of football. As the good coaches will tell you, you've got to do the simple things well. And that's exactly what they did. Just a quick pass, a quick play of the ball, and then it went from Mortimer, a short ball, to a man coming from deep on the fly, Sigsworth, and straight under the uprights.
Sigsworth pushed through a tackle in the first half to set up Peter Mortimer's try, and here he did exactly the same thing and scores under the black dot.
Talking before the match with a couple of the Balmain players here tonight watching the game. Scotty Gale and Gary Schofield. Drummond over the halfway line. By Steve Mortimer about 15 metres into Canterbury's area. He's fast. Schubert. Bilberger to the 32 line. Good work by Bilberger. Fella. Now it's Crooks. Kick into the corner. Petherbridge will score if he can get there in time. He can't. Williams. Folks and Johnston making the tackle. And the manner in which they made it would make one almost think that it was the opening minutes of the game. But in fact, we're 3/4 of the way through. Webster, jumper number 26, formerly with the Balmain club. Bilberger. And Lamb goes away with it. Making a big run inside the 32 and the 22. Brett Clark comes at him. He runs away from him. And Terry Lamb goes in to score his own try. Well, the way Bilberger was carrying the football, or the way he was hanging onto the football, there was every chance that Canterbury were going to take it off him. And that's exactly what Terry Lamb did. He goes up. Dunn gets under him with Terry Lamb. The ball is just sitting up there like an ice cream on a cone. And Terry Lamb takes it off him and then runs the best part of 50 metres. Brett Clark tried to run him down, but Lamb is away and running. Good performance tonight by Lamb. And he's got this one too, so he's certainly on line with his goal kicking as well. 38 points to 4 in favour of the Bulldogs. And we see that Wests have made another replacement. Henderson has come off, and I think it's Duval in 16, Graham, isn't it?
Greg Duval in 16 has gone on.
While we're down there with you, the lanky Yank was saying in the preview that he thought Terry Lamb would have a big one tonight. You weren't far wrong, Don.
Well, you know, it didn't take a genius to figure it out. He's been sort of overshadowed by the losses, and he's also had to play that substitute role to New South Wales team, and I think he was really out to prove something here tonight, as was the whole Canterbury team. I would have loved to have heard what he said to them before they came out for this game. Boy, did they come out here ready.
Yes, well, I don't know that he probably had to say very much at all, really, because the events of the last couple of weeks would probably be enough to motivate a team of champions like he's got under him. Here's Schubert now, taking it out to the 22, getting a one-hander off in desperation to Brett Clark. And a lot of the things Wests have had to do tonight have been out of desperation, more than frustration, probably. This is done. And Canterbury coming up with the ball on the turnover on the West 22. So a great opportunity for them to extend the scoreline even further as Gillespie gets it off to Terry Lamb. He's inside the 10. Steve Mortimer backs him up, and Steve Mortimer goes in to score another Canterbury try. Well, Graham Hughes, being a state cricketer of years gone by, not too many years gone by, this pitch at the cricket ground must be playing very placidly. What was it, 70-odd yesterday without the loss of a wicket, and 46 tonight, and still no wickets have fallen.
Well, I think next Monday night, whoever wins the toss should bat.
Well, it was a good ball put on here by Gillespie, wasn't it? Gillespie got round Crook's tackle, stood in another one, got the ball up to Lamb. Lamb's a great backer up, and there's no doubt about that. He got the ball back inside to Mortimer, who puts the ball firmly down over the try line.
Lee Crooks kicks off. Big kick down to Farah. O'Brien comes away.
I suppose the interest now for Canterbury Bankstown supporters is to see if they can get past the 52 points that were posted yesterday by Manly, and that's not beyond them the way they're playing.
Chris Mortimer. Steve Mortimer now Kelly. Little short ball away, and look at Gillespie go. Over the halfway, finds support in Sigsworth and Langmack. Langmack runs out of extras. No, he doesn't. He finds Dunn. Back it goes for Langmack. Langmack looking for support to try and keep it alive. 30 metres out. Centre of the ground. Big run by Gillespie. Terry Lamb. Long ball. Folks, short pass. Farah. Down the line goes Peter Mortimer. Tackle by Schubert. Not into touch. Good piece of work there by Peter Mortimer. Kelly. Kelly, 5 metres out from the line.
That's where they've won the game, Canterbury. That hard work up the middle.
Kelly's getting up to play it, 5 metres out. Steve Mortimer, grab a kick. Oh, and a beautiful bounce for Langmack. It hit a Western Suburbs player, Alan Fella, came off his chest, landed on its point and bounced into the chest of Paul Langmack. When things are going your way, it seems that, well, it came off the head of Petherbridge. It was a beautiful header by Rod Petherbridge, straight into the arms of Paul Langmack and the poor old Maggies, and I must admit I feel a bit sorry for them. As I said earlier, when Schubert brought the ball back, he's probably saying, fancy copping this mob playing like they are tonight. Canterbury leading by 48-4 now. Fox tackle just outside the 22. Change for Canterbury, Graham.
They're about to rest their state second rower, a guy that certainly deserves one, Steve Phapes, after his heavy commitments the last month or so, and the man that will be going on will be David Boyd in 22.
Lee Crooks just took a nasty knock as he went in to make, well, he was looking for the ball, but he was tackled without it, and Lee is still down injured. He's in a bit of pain out there.
You should have seen the next tackle that Canterbury put on Webster. He brought the ball up and he was hit like a sledgehammer by Folks and by Gillespie. These fellows have not relaxed their defence one bit since the opening minutes of the match. Look at these tackles, 2 and 3 in every one of them.
Kelly and Dunn making the tackle on Johnny Bilbidger. Fox.
It's another good bomb by Fox. Spot on that one.
Sigsworth. You know, Lamb's scored all the points, I suppose, and you've talked about how the big forwards have taken it up and kept that roll on, but By Jeff, I reckon Sigsworth's had a big game here tonight. Billy Johnston. About 8 metres out from the line. Canterbury's still unable to crack the half-century. Can they do it here? Steve Mortimer's grubber kick. It came off the hands of Petherbridge. That's a try. Yes, that's a try to O'Brien. No question about it. 52 points to 4 in favour of the Bulldogs. O'Brien, the try scorer. Steve Mortimer with all the time in the world. It came off the arms of Petherbridge back into the in goal. That didn't help Des Drummond one little bit. Scrum fed by Lamb and run by West against the feed. Second of the match, in fact, for Fowler. And it's Petherbridge who's tackled. He, in fact, is the last man tackled. Good performance by Rod Petherbridge. And unfortunately for the Magpies, they caught the Bulldogs on precisely the wrong night. 54 points to 4. And have a look at it there. Folkes, Johnston, Peter Mortimer, Sigsworth, Lamb, Steve Mortimer and Langmack the tries. Steve O'Brien scored 2 tries. He was the only one to cross for more than one. Lamb kicked 9 goals. And Schubert, Petherbridge, in fact, was the man who scored the West try. My apologies for that mistake. 54 to 4 in favour of the Bulldogs over the Magpies. There it is. Manly 26, Parramatta 24, South 23, Canterbury 21, Penrith 20. Balmain 18 with Norths, East 14 with St George, West 13, Illawarra 12, Cronulla 11 and Canberra 10. Next week, these are the matches: Illawarra versus Parramatta, Cronulla versus Canberra, Penrith take on Canterbury, East play Norths, St George have the bye. And on Sunday, the NEC big game is the match between Balmain and Manly. On Monday Night Football, Tui's Monday Night Football, it's Western Suburbs versus Souths. Another week of Rugby League comes to its close. And on behalf of Winfield, I hope you've enjoyed the presentation. They, of course, they enjoy sponsoring the greatest game of all. And as we leave you on this particular program, let's reflect on the careers, not ended as yet, of course, of 2 of Rugby League's greats, Ray Price and Michael Cronin, Pricey and the Crow. Sterling will probably drive this down the centre of the field, and it's an up and under. And it was Price who sped it out the back to Taylor. Taylor to Kenny. They've got the numbers. Now it's Steve Ella. Ella's going inside 32, inside 22, taken by Hunt. Hunt gets to the way to Cronin. Cronin will score. That's a try. A miraculous try scored by the Parramatta machine. Ray Price strolls into a yawning opening. He's found Jeremy Lillis. Lillis to the 32. It's gone to Kenny, inside to Lydiard. Lydiard back to Kenny. Kenny away. It's gone through Mosley to Price. And Ray Price has scored an Eels special.
Searching for some company. Feel the rhythm, dance with me. Can beat by Blue Sea Mountain Place. Now the what's the party face. Party face. Dance, dance on the floor. Dance, dance for some more. Dance, dance, feel the heat. Hit that perfect beat, boy. Hit that perfect beat, boy. I've got that feeling. up the